If you are a man, and specifically a black man, then you need to watch this video. Look, listen, I'm not discriminating or not talking about other cultures, but I'm going to talk from my experience about why we overthink as men, and again, specifically black men. If you're not a black man, that's perfectly fine, because this may apply to you in some way or another potentially, right? There is a term that was coined by W.E.B. Du Bois called double consciousness and the veil. And what does that mean? That means that if you are a male, again, specifically a black male, this was written late 1800s, early 1900s. I don't want to quote exactly, but this was wrote then, and it's still as relevant now. And what this double consciousness is talking about, we have two ways to look at ourselves. One, in which the way that we believe us to be, right? Our own person, our own beliefs, who we believe that we are, right? Our own image of ourselves. And there's another version of ourselves in which we look at ourselves from our white counterparts, aka the people or the men that are white men. Basically, I'll just go ahead and say it, right? Like the perspective that we believe that they look at us. So for example, right, like you see right now, I have twists. So what is the perception of twist, or let's say dreads or locks, which is what it's actually called? What is the perception of that we know that people say about it? Ghetto, it's not professional, and it just produces some type of image, right? Like you'll see on the news when you look that people have gotten pulled over and stereotyped because of the way that their dreads look or the way that their hair is and how it appears. These are things that are always in our minds when we walk out of the door, because that is the world that we live in. We know that innately we are being judged. So we have the term, and what W.E.B. Du Bois was talking about was the double consciousness. We know who we are. We know we may be intelligent, smart, educated, well-spoken, outspoken, confident, all of those things, but also we're very aware of our image and how that appears to our counterparts and what that looks like. I'm explaining this because a lot of you all talk about, or we think about, overthinking, right? So we walk out of the door, we're thinking, oh, well, what is this person going to say? Or what is that person going to say? Or what do they think about me here? What is the perceptions of other people? And often that behavior is creating us to, or it's influencing us to act and behave in a certain way. So we're thinking about, again, constantly, what does this person think of me? What does that person think of me? When I walk in this corporate building, what is going to be the perception of me? I remember when I got my first job out of college, my first ever real job, my big boy job. I used to have, actually it was an internship first. It was an internship that turned into a job. The first thing I did, I didn't even recognize I was doing that until I looked back in hindsight. I never recognized why I did what I did. So I had hair. It was never this long. It's the longest my hair has ever been. But I had like an afro. It was like curly. I had a beard, like a little beard, and a mustache, right? Again, you want to dress professional. You want to be clean, crispy. Like even just that thought in my mind, I was like, I want to be professional. So what did I do? I cut my hair. I shaved off my beard. I did everything to fit inside of a box. Fit inside of a stereotype, aka being the good N-word, right? Being the good black guy, right? That was my perception. That's what I wanted to be. So I tried to fit inside of that mold, because that double consciousness, I never knew that it was, I didn't know that was there. Like I knew who I was. Like I knew I was, no matter what type of hairstyle I got, no matter who I am, I know who I am and what I'm capable of. However, I know that also I'm going to be being judged innately and by other people when I walk inside of the door. At least I thought. A reality of it is you are being judged. That's the truth of the matter. The double consciousness is always going to be there for black men specifically, because we always are thinking about what others are thinking about us. If we're dressed this way or that way, what do people say? What does our dialect say about us? How do we talk? How do we speak? And how is that being transferred into the world in which we live in? So don't ever blame yourself for the reasoning in which you think, or why you may be a person that overthinks on how you show up in the world, because that's why. It's psychological warfare that's been against us as black men, as people in general, and that's just one aspect of it, right? And again, it's like we have to fit it. You're trying to fit in this box. So anytime anytime you're interacting with people or connecting with people, even if they're of your same race, you've already have been conditioned to be thinking about the perceptions of other people. And that the term is mind reading, right? So you're mind reading what other people are thinking about you. Some of the times, most of the time, it's probably not true because you're putting your own judgments and your own beliefs on what other people are thinking about you. However, some of those things may be true, right? You never really know. If you don't have the evidence, you can't really say. But I just wanted to give you the insight as to where it comes from, and also why you think the way that you do. So next time you're thinking about, hey, I'm going to this party, or I'm going to this event, I'm going to this or that, and you're like, I'm thinking about, well, what am I going to wear? I want to make sure I get the best impression, or I want to make sure that I'm looked at in a certain way. Ultimately, I still agree that the way that you present yourself is important. I'm not saying you need to cut your hair off and fit inside of a box. However, you should be clean. You should be well groomed, I'll say, right? Like still be well groomed. But when it comes to you speaking with people and overthinking that aspect, don't worry about that. That's a very easy thing to say, right? Like don't worry about how you sound and how you portray yourself to other people. But what I mean by that is you are who you are, and there's nothing that you can do or any way that you can pronounce or change to change who you are. And if you're around people that don't accept you for who you are, then you shouldn't be around them anyway. You don't want them in your life. You want people in your life that accept you for you being authentically you, regardless of what that may be. Now, I'm not saying don't play the game, right? Like, because in the world that we live in, you do have to play the game. You do have to know you're living in a world we don't run. So you have to play the game and be and finesse. And when I say finesse, I'm not mean like trick somebody out of something. I'm just saying you got to just have you got to be smooth, right? You got to know how to play the game. You got to know how to do it right. So definitely do that, but also just be who you are and be as consciously aware of the way that you are perceiving yourself and also the thoughts that you're putting inside of other people's minds, because ultimately you can't control that, and neither do you know if it's true or not. So again, if you want more information on this specific topic, make sure you comment below. W.E.B. Du Bois, Double Consciousness in the Veil, I believe the book is called, or the term is called. So definitely look that up. Because it is a very, very important topic when it comes to the way that we have been conditioned, groomed, and also just how the way that we think psychologically. So that's it today. I wanted to get a little, psychological with y'all today. Let y'all know that I'm really doing this out here. I'm not just talking. I'm not like these other coaches that just saying do this and do that. I really know that it goes a lot deeper than what it may seem to be. So if you want to really dive into that psychological aspect of you and be able to change and rewire your brain, feel free to book a call below or join the Elevation League. It's completely free. And it's the best #1 league out there right now for men to elevate, go to the next level, and always just be on the grind to do whatever you achieve to do. Remember, it starts with your mind. It doesn't start with anything else. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. I could teach you all the sauce. I could teach you all the game, but you don't have the mindset and the strategy to implement it. You won't be able to do nothing at all, right? So I want to make sure that you have that information. So feel free to comment below. Make sure you subscribe as well and give me a like on this video. Put it on the algorithm. People need to know this information, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.